What's up, guys? So, if you haven't been following the NBA news for the past hour or two, depending on when you're watching this, the Harden trades are really ramping up. About an hour ago, Woj tweeted that Houston has been in heavy talks with the Sixers and the Nets to trade Harden. As of right now, he's supposedly not with the team, and so it looks like he's sooner than rather than later going to be traded. It seems like probably maybe even today. And so obviously with that, there have been trades coming out about what each team would be offering. And as a Nets fan, looking at what the Nets want to offer, I'm praying that this doesn't happen for the Nets. To be honest with you, I know most people would think it's crazy to not want a top five, at worst case, top 10 NBA player on your team, but in this case, that's how I feel. I mean, I've kind of felt like this since the beginning. If you look, with us already having Kyrie and KD, with us already having those two, adding Harden to there, in my opinion, I never liked the idea. I think in order to have a big three, you always need one of those three people to really take a backseat role, and I don't see any of those three being guys to do that. You could maybe say KD, but with seeing how well he's playing, especially in the game last night against the Grizzlies, I think it was. I think it was the Grizzlies. With that game he played last night, putting up 33, 9, and 13. I mean, he's not a guy none of those guys you can really make as a third option. I feel like you could maybe have Harden to be more of like an off-ball shooter for you. But to be honest, with everything that we would give up in order to get him, it just, in my opinion, really wouldn't really be worth it. And like I said, when it comes to all three of those guys being more ball dominant, to be able to get the ball around to all of them would be a huge, huge challenge to make happen. The only positives I'd really see is that since D'Antoni is an assistant coach on the Nets, it would be nice to where James Harden would have some familiarity. And Durant and Harden did play together, albeit that was what, 9 years ago at this point. So it's like not really the same exact thing, but at least they would have some kind of use. They'd be somewhat used to each other's game. And also another big thing is the trade that would make it happen. If you look up on the screen here, the Athletic was reporting that the possible Nets package they would have would be giving up Karis LeVert, Joe Harris, and on top of that, 4 first-round picks and 3 pick swaps. Obviously, that's probably in order to avoid the Sefin rule, where you can't trade multiple first-round pick or a first-round pick in multiple years, and that would all just be for Harden by himself. I mean, to be honest, it really gives me flashbacks to the KG Paul Pierce trade. Now, while Harden is definitely easily more talented than KG or Paul Pierce were at the time of that trade happening, it's really nerve-wracking to them giving up not only 2 solid players in Joe Harris and Karis LeVert, but also giving up every pick that we have probably for the next 5 to 6 years, which would be longer than the life of any contract that Durant, Kyrie, or Harden would be able to muster. Another issue is if you're looking at this trade here, which I have up on the screen, Harris, since he just signed, obviously, his contract extension in the offseason, with this late start to the season, technically his 3 months past his extension wouldn't have hit yet. So he's technically not even able to get traded. So if this happened within the next, couple days, we'll say, that trade wouldn't be able to go through with Joe Harris at all. I could see the Nets maybe trying to pull in a third team to try to maybe have them get a decent young player from some other team, and then trading that guy to the Rockets. Maybe like Denver, giving up someone like Porter Jr. or I think Gary Harris makes too much, but some other young player from a different team and moving them over. Maybe even Oladipo with the Pacers. That could happen, but again, that seems very convoluted, and I don't see that being able to really get worked out. If anything, the Sixers offer seems more attractive, seeing as supposedly It seems like the Sixers are willing to put Ben Simmons into these trade offers. So you would have Ben Simmons, Matisse Thybulle, some picks in there for Harden, and if I'm not mistaken, PJ Tucker. And that sounds, to be honest, for even for the Rockets, like a lot better of a deal, especially if you can get Ben Simmons and someone like Thibault, who's a good defender, and only being able and picks to only give up Harden and maybe PJ Tucker, who's an expiring. To me, sounds like a lot better of a deal. And like I said, with the Nets, I just don't think he would fit. At least with Embiid and Harden, you would have some great pick and roll action between Embiid and Harden. Embiid, of course, can also shoot as well, so you can have a pick and pop game, and you have decent role players around them to be able to make that work. I feel like if the Nets gave up Harden, not only would you have issues with everyone being able to get the ball, you would have no bench, and also a lack of defense. So if anything, if the Nets were going to get Harden, I would want them to get someone at least like PJ Tucker, so we would have another solid defender. Because Harden, like I said, LeVert and Harris, while not amazing defenders, are average to solid defenders. And this team has already struggled when it comes to playing defense against other teams, or at least stopping them from scoring. So I feel like we would definitely need that. So overall, I'm just really praying that the Nets are not the team to get Harden, because I just don't feel like it would fit with what we have. I would rather have us get a second-tier star. That would be a nice complementary option to KD and Durant. And either way, the optics don't look like they would work anyway, since DeAndre Jordan is not available to get traded, at least you would think, based on how Jordan and Durant and Kyrie have always been seen as like a buddy-buddy kind of thing. And Joe Harris having the issues with his contract. They'd really need a third team, so it seems like it's less likely to happen. Let me know what you guys think to see if you think this should really even happen. Like I said, as a Nets fan, I am hoping and praying that if anything, he goes to the Sixers. And I especially hope they give up Simmons, because I would definitely be happy if we only had to deal with Harden and Embiid, while also hurting the Sixers in the long term. I don't know how Harden would really work with Morey. So both these two teams seem like there's negatives and some positives, but a lot of negatives of how they would work. But I definitely don't want him to go to the Nets, so I'm hoping and praying that doesn't happen. And like I said, let me know what you guys think. If you guys have any ideas of what third team should even be added to try to make this Nets trade work. And besides that, guys, I'm out.